Our next speaker is going to be Congressman Tom Tancredo, and to introduce him is New Ipswich Police Chief Garrett Chamberlain.
Good evening. My name is Garrett Chamberlain, Chief of Police in the town of New Ipswich, New Hampshire. Thank you. As many of you may recall, in July of 2004, I learned very quickly the dangers that this country faces on a daily basis regarding our immigration laws. I detained 9 Ecuadorian illegal immigrants, only to be forced to release them when our federal government refused to take custody of these people just prior to the Democratic Convention. As a result of the public dissatisfaction that I expressed, I gained a lot of attention from the media, and I also gained the attention of Colorado Congressman Tom Tancredo. In February of 2005, Congressman Tancredo came to New Ipswich to present me with an American Patriot Award with Team America Political Action Committee. What I want you to understand is that you cannot make a mistake about Congressman Tancredo. He is the national voice on immigration issues today. As a congressman, Tom has a solid and proven track record as a conservative, and he will fight for what is right regardless of the potential negative publicity that the establishment media may direct at him. Defending and defeating the current amnesty bill is Tom's primary goal today. It's my honor to stand here before you, and it's also an honor to introduce to you Colorado Congressman Tom Tancredo, who's a friend of mine and also the 2008 presidential candidate.
I always have to do this. Put the thing down. Thank you. I'd like to introduce to you all my wife, Jackie, who's joining me on this trip out here to New Hampshire. You want to say hello?
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks. Thank you, Chief Chamberlain. It is a pleasure to join you here. It was a pleasure to come up here in 2005 and give him that award. I was proud of him then. I am proud of him now, as all of you should be, by the way. He took a stand. He took a stand that was not popular. A great guy. Now, I want to thank you for letting me join you tonight. And, you know, some of my comments I know may sound harsh, and sometimes especially when I talk about the problems I see with my party, our party. But what I want to preface this discussion tonight with an explanation of something, and that is that I've been a Republican for a long, long, long time. In 1960, I was in college, and I was in high school. I'm not quite that, I wish I were that young. I was in high school in 1960. It was a school called Holy Family. It was a Catholic school. There was an election at the time, you may recall, presidential election. 2 people running. Guy by the name of Kennedy, guy by the name of Nixon. Now, I was in a Catholic school. There was absolutely no question about where our loyalties were supposed to be on that particular case. So we had a mock election in 1960 of the 92 members of our class, and the vote was 90-2 for Kennedy. And I never found out who the other one was that voted for Nixon. But I've been there a long time. And I tell you that because I stand before you as a lifetime Republican, but more importantly as an American concerned about our country, very concerned about our country, and yes, our party. The basic concept of the rule of law, I believe, is being trampled into the ground by Democrats who look at illegal aliens coming into this country by the hundreds of thousands and now in the millions as potential voters, but oftentimes, unfortunately, also by Republicans who look at illegal aliens as a source of cheap labor and have sort of succumbed to that siren song of cheap labor. And Americans are paying a price, a high price, for a government that's been unwilling to do its job and a Congress that has not had the guts to make it. As a result, there are nearly 20 million illegal aliens living in this country today, nearly 8 times the population of the state of New Hampshire. The great American melting pot is broken. Fewer and fewer immigrants are coming here with a desire to assimilate, and we, unfortunately, are not encouraging that assimilation. Not too long ago, I made a statement about about Miami. I got into an awful lot of trouble about it because I talked about it as being, in a way, a third world country. But here's what I meant. There was a guy down there, a person who was claimed to be the head of an immigrant group, a Cuban immigrant group. And he was quoted in Time magazine as saying that the thing he loved best about Florida is the fact that there was absolutely no pressure in that city to be an American. Something to be proud of, I ask you? A city in this country where there's no pressure to be an American? Well, without border security, without immigration enforcement, without either the cultural confidence or a political will to demand assimilation from new Americans, we are left with what Theodore Roosevelt called a polyglot boarding house. Tonight, the U.S. Senate is debating a bill that opens the door to that boarding house. It gives automatic and immediate amnesty to millions of illegal immigrants already here and encourages millions more to follow them. It costs taxpayers $2.5 trillion and does nothing, I mean absolutely nothing, to secure the borders. As a matter of fact, you remember the Fort Dix people, the people who were trying to blow up Fort Dix. They had conspired to blow up Fort Dix and kill as many Americans as possible. Well, I'm telling you that one or more of them would be given amnesty, would have been given amnesty under this bill that we are now considering, that the Senate is now considering. It's a treacherous bill. It assaults our solvency. It assaults our sovereignty and our national identity. People everywhere ask me, what can they do? My answer has always been everything. You must do everything. Our country depends on it. So we must join together tonight and stop this outrageous bill. Yesterday, I announced a grassroots effort asking Americans everywhere to help me build an army to fight this bill. Help me fight the sellout of America that I believe it represents. I have asked them to call their senators, demand that they reject this amnesty, and tell them that if they vote for this national suicide pact, they'll work against them. I know these are tough words. I recognize these are tough words, but honestly, think of what is at stake here. It's something bigger than all of us. It's something bigger than the party itself. It is the country we're talking about. Friends, as President of the United States, I will secure our borders, I will enforce our laws, and I will make English the official language of this country. And I will never, ever grant amnesty to anybody. Let me not stop there. I will assure you that if those two unfortunate people are still in prison, Mr. Ramos and Mr. Compiègne, two Border Patrol agents who are in prison today serving 11 and 12 years respectively for doing their job, if they're still there, and God knows I hope they're not, but if I'm President of the United States the first day, they will be pardoned. I will then direct my Justice Department to prosecute and go after any mayor that actually declares its city to be a sanctuary city for illegal aliens. That is called aiding and abetting. It is against the law. I'll guarantee that illegal workers never receive Social Security checks. I will kill in its infancy this bizarre idea of a North American Union. I will appoint pro-life, strict constructionists to the courts, and I'll apologize for none of these. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a nation at war. It was a war we didn't start. It's one we must finish. It's a global war. It's difficult enough. After all, our enemies are psychopaths and our allies are the French. But while our country was able to rescue Europe from the grasp of Nazism and communism, who is going to rescue us from the threat of communism? Who is going to rescue us from the threat of Islamic extremists? It will not be Europe, where there are 20 million Muslims now living, and the largest mosque in the world is being built in London. And the most popular name for a male in baby being born in Amsterdam and many other cities in Europe is Muhammad. America is the last best hope of Western civilization. Everything we are, everything we've achieved in this nation is under attack, from jihadism abroad to multiculturalism at home. Our leaders are charged with the responsibility of defending our land, our culture, our sovereignty, and they sometimes refuse to do so. Every generation of Americans must pass a test. It was a test passed at Valley Forge, at Gettysburg, on the Normandy beaches, and on Flight 93. Whenever Americans see their country threatened or their flag falling, they act. This is their country, the country they built, the country they fought for and died for. Will our generation muster the will and courage to do the same? This is why I'm running for president, because we are threatened, because we need a leader, because we cannot afford to fail. This is our culture, fight for it. This is our flag, pick it up. This is our country, take it back. Thank you.
And now Bedford's Jack